Well, guys, it is Tuesday, and as our promise to you, always to bring you nothing but the best, we are doing that again today as Brady Cannon from WagerTalk.com. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline, and he's the best because one of his specialties happens to be the Tiger Woods-Phil Mickelson match that's coming up Friday. I know there's been some buzz. You might have heard about it but forgot about it. But there is actually plenty of opportunity for the sports bettor to have some fun this holiday weekend. And let's face it, you're going to be stuck with a whole bunch of relatives that you only see once a year. You probably don't like them anyway. So what a perfect excuse to be able to get away and be like, listen, I got money on Tiger here. Like, I got to go. I'd like to hang out here and eat cake with you, but really, I've got to leave. So, Brady, thank you for taking a few minutes out and saving countless amounts of people who will be stuck with relatives they don't like this holiday season.
Absolutely. If I can assist in bringing some people some happiness over this weekend and escape to some golf or whatever, then more than happy to help.
I'm so glad. All right, first, let me start here, Brady. For those that don't know, a lot of people, and I've been talking to folks this week, they didn't even realize that you can bet on golf and that there's, is it just prop bets they didn't know? Is there a way to look at it? So give us, just for those that may not know about golf and betting on golf, give us a kind of overview of what we're looking at here.
Yeah, there's actually a number of ways to bet on golf, and the simplest form is just the futures market, and that would be like picking which football team before the season starts is going to win the Super Bowl, okay, and you've got odds on each football team. Well, before each golf tournament, there's 150-some guys in the tournament, and they may have all 150 on the board. They may have, about 80 guys listed or so, but there'll be a price on each player to win the tournament. You're going to find Jason Day and Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler. They're all the favorites at very short odds, anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 to 1, and all the way down to 500 to 1 with some of the bigger long shots. So you've got that market, of course, which most people probably understand. But I'll tell you, one of the most popular formats or ways to bet golf are head-to-head matchups. And these are fictional matchups that the odds maker will create. So you look at a field for a golf tournament, and you've got Tiger Woods and Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and, on down the line, all these guys that are involved in this tournament. And the odds maker will create, again, like I say, a fictional matchup. Let's say Jordan Spieth against Webb Simpson. And Jordan Spieth will be the favorite at minus 135. And that is whoever finishes the lowest for the 4 days of the tournament wins that match. So I prefer that type of golf betting because you're handicapping Team A versus Team B. It's much like trying to figure out who's going to win, the Patriots or the Steelers. Will it be Jordan Spieth or Webb Simpson? For me, that is a much easier handicap than trying to pick one guy out of 150 who's going to win the event. And then you have prop bets, as you mentioned, make or miss the cut, who's going to hit the longest drive, all kinds of stuff like that. So golf betting is actually quite fun, and you think of, watching golf on TV and the golf clap and the mundane announcer voice, but when you've got a little action, I tell you, it adds quite a bit to golf viewing because they go from shot to shot to shot, player to player to player, and you can be in action constantly in watching a golf broadcast.
Brady Cannon joining us here via the Miami Acura hotline. Not only will you see him at WagerTalk.com, but also on the brand new gambling network, VSiN. He is a contributor there, and maybe one of my favorite parts about what you do is that if anybody is planning on heading to Las Vegas and maybe catching a round of golf, he does also work with Tee Times USA, which will help you be able to get those tee times in Las Vegas. Make sure that you guys visit him at Las Vegas Golfer on Twitter. Really great follow there. And Brady, before we start getting into some of the lines and what we see, who's the favorite and where we're at there on the numbers, let's talk about the future of what we're about to see here on Friday between Phil and Tiger. Is this, listen, Tiger Woods is, if he's not aged out, he's going to be aged out, and golf has got to find a new way of reinventing themselves because the young guys, as good as they are, the Jordan Spieths, the Rory McIlroys, the Dustin Johnsons, they are not Tiger Woods. And Tiger's kind of like that Halley's Comet, but golf's got to do something to keep themselves in the forefront and keep viewership and ratings up. Is this the future of golf? Is this what we are looking at here on Friday?
Boy, I tell you what, I hope it is, man. I think it would be so fun. And you're right in what you say. Golf is in a very good place. With how many good players are in the game right now, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, that you look at the top. I mean, you remember, Joe. I mean, when Tiger was dominant, it was Tiger and Phil and Vijay Singh and Ernie Els and David Duval, and then whoever else was around. You didn't even know. But now, I mean, it's 30, 40, 50 players deep of just outstanding, phenomenal, big-name headline guys. I mean, you know Adam Scott. He won the Masters not too long ago. He's like 60th best in the world now. I mean, the competition is so strong. Golf is in a good spot. But you're right. It is going to take something avant-garde, if you will. You know, Tiger Woods is generational, certainly. And this match play that they're doing, I think, is really exciting. I don't know if pay-per-view is the way to go, but if they can, you know, get started here. And, I mean, can you imagine, you know, once a month we had a different matchup, and it was Rory against Spieth, and then it was DJ against Tommy Fleetwood. And, I mean, that would, I think, really be entertaining. And you've got Phil and Tiger playing for $9 million. These guys could make a year's salary in one match.
Yes, yes, and I don't want to, because I'm not giving away my age. This was still before my time, but they used to do something. Brady, who is who understands golf, who likes the history of golf, I'm assuming here, Brady. But they used to have those shell one-on-one matches back in the days in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, where you'd have Arnold Palmer going up against Jack or Gary Player. They would do those things, those one-on-one matches like that, and I'm glad this is kind of what that is. It's kind of a toss back to what they used to do then, winner take all, but only I think the stakes are much, much higher here. But it is, golf did used to do this in a way.
You're absolutely right. The shell wonderful world of golf, and I'm not sure you know, what kind of money was involved, if any. I think it was more of an exhibition type thing, but I'd love to see it take the next step, and obviously Tiger and Phil is the perfect place to start if we're going to do more of this type of thing.
Yeah, no, like you said, it would be so much more fun than watching the Who Gives a Crap Open, you know, on a weekend in June or July. So I do think that they're heading in the right direction. Brady Cannon joining us, wagertalk.com. All right, let's talk about some of the numbers that we've got going on here, Brady. For instance, we'll start right off the top. It looks like Tiger is listed as a pretty big favorite, minus 200 in a bunch of the books. Phil is looking at plus 170 as the underdog. So being the gambler that you are, you look at these two numbers right off the bat. Is there value in Phil Mickelson at plus 170?
I think there absolutely is value in Phil Mickelson. Yeah, I think that price is way off. And I'll tell you exactly, you know, the evolution of that price. When this match was first announced, I said it was going to be pick'em. And this was at a point, you know, I want to say this was announced maybe back in April or so, maybe not long. Well, it was probably after that, maybe in the summer, June, July, something like that. And both players were playing basically equal. I think you could make a real case that Phil was playing much better than Tiger. And I said this match should pick 'em. Now, the sports books in Las Vegas opened it up at Tiger minus 130. And that is absolutely understandable because I tell you what, Joe, you could have a bass fishing competition at Lake Mead with Tiger Woods involved, and they would bet on him hand over fist. So it doesn't matter what Tiger Woods is involved in. The public will bet Tiger and bet more and more and more until they are blue in the face. So making him minus 130 protects the books a little bit because they know no matter what, they're going to take Tiger action. So that price made sense as well. Then you had a change in how these guys were playing. We all saw Tiger Woods come down the stretch, eventually win the Tour Championship, contended at the PGA Championship. He was getting very, very hot, and Phil Mickelson was absolutely cooling off. So it has jumped all the way up to minus 200. I even saw minus 210. Before this match goes off, it might go higher. But I absolutely think there is value in Phil Mickelson. These guys are not that far apart to make Tiger Woods better than a 2-1 favorite.
Brady Cannon joining us, wagertalk.com. Also, you will hear and see him on VSiN, the Vegas Sports Network, also a contributor there when it comes to golf. And Brady, let's talk a little bit about this golf course. For those of you that are just joining us, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, this Friday, Shadow Creek Golf Course in, you guessed it, Brady's neck of the woods, Las Vegas. So talk to us a little bit about Shadow Creek, how this course sets up, and who does it actually favor with these two guys?
That's a great question, Joe. And Shadow is absolutely a remarkable place. It's been ranked in the top 10 golf courses in America before. Steve Wynn built it with Tom Fazio many years ago, probably in the neighborhood of 18 years ago now. But it is certainly the best course in Las Vegas, and like I say, one of the best in the United States. It's a $70 million project, again, some 18, 20 years ago that this course cost to build. It's absolutely remarkable, and I could do another 2 hours with you just on Shadow Creek. But Tiger certainly has the course advantage because he's played there famously many times over the years with the likes of Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley, and Tiger has absolutely been a frequent visitor to Shadow Creek, much more so than Phil Mickelson. So he'll have the course knowledge advantage. It's a very traditional course, tree-lined. It really looks like you're in the hills of North Carolina. Tiger is quoted in the clubhouse saying the greens remind him of Augusta with the shadows and the speed. So it's absolutely a fantastic property and one that people will want to watch on TV. Now, while Tiger may have a course advantage, I believe Phil has an advantage from a gambling standpoint. We know Mickelson is very well versed in the gambling annals of America, and maybe infamously has played in a number of matches, both in his hometown of San Diego and on the Wednesday, Tuesday practice rounds before PGA Tour events. Phil always has money on the line and is very adept at playing with that kind of pressure. So. And I don't believe Tiger as much. So I think Phil may have an advantage from that standpoint. But and also as far as the course setup, Joe, I think they're going to set it up pretty easy. They're gonna allow these guys to make birdies. If you look at Phil and Tiger, both of their weakness is accuracy off the tee. Shadow Creek is not an extremely narrow golf course. They're going to make it wide open. They're not going to grow the rough up real high. These guys are going to be able to rip the ball around the yard and not get into too much trouble and make a lot of birdies. It may come down to a putting contest, and Phil Mickelson over the course of this year in the PGA Tour has been the better putter. So I can't wait to watch it. I think there's a lot of different ways you can try and handicap this thing, but I think in the end it'll be pretty close.
Talk to us, and it's funny, I was going to say, so it sounds like it's a bangers course, so you don't necessarily need to be dead straight down off the tee, but if they're not going to grow the rough, are we looking at, Shinnecock-type greens here, or are they going to make them relatively easy for what this is?
I think they'll be pretty fast. Players like fast greens. I don't think they're going to be an Augusta National fast, but they will certainly be at a nice speed, I'm sure. They're pretty big putting surfaces. They do have some undulation. I've played Shadow Creek twice, and Tiger actually holds the course record. That's worth mentioning as well.
Wow.
Tiger shot a 60 here many years ago. And that actually was tied not long after that by Fred Couples. Fred Couples and Tiger Woods have both shot 60 at Shadow Creek.
Yeah, and both of those guys we certainly know. Well, we know Fred doesn't mind participating in a little side action either, which brings me to my next point. Chances are, no matter what we have ongoing, no matter what bets that we place as sports bettors and viewers, chances are these two are going to have a little side action going on, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And Mickelson has come out and said that when Tiger's standing over a putt, he's going to say 50,000, you miss it, and that type of thing. Or here's another. No, he really has 50,000 that I can outdrive you on this hole, and this and that and the other. So now it's going to be fun to watch, and I think these guys are going to be encouraged to kind of yuck it up and trash talk and make this fun for the viewers.
I see some of the prop bets they have. For instance, Tiger, if he's going to win here, they've got him. Tiger 1 up plus 750, 2 and 1 6 to 1, 2 up 12 to 1. So, is there some value if you're going to bet Phil to win this? Where would you look, and what kind of range do you think? Well, either one of these guys, is it going to be 2 and 3, 3 and 2? Where do you think it's going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty close, and I think whether you're going to choose to bet Tiger or Phil, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So 1 up, 2 and 1. I think you're right in that neighborhood. I'll tell you, one of the prop bets I took a hard look at. Will there be extras? And that means, like overtime. If they are tied after 18 holes, then they will play extra holes. And I know it's often a sucker bet to say, in the Super Bowl, will there be overtime? And the yes is like plus 800 because it never happens. Well, I have a feeling this has a good chance to go extra holes, and these guys could play a part in wanting it to go extra holes. And the broadcast would certainly love it to go to a sudden death overtime, that type of thing. And the yes on will it go extra holes is plus 700.
Wow.
That's a big price. I think this thing could be that close. It does have a chance to go to overtime, if you will.
Wow. And the 1995 price, did it always open up at 1995, Brady, or did they lower the price as expectations maybe were a little bit high in the beginning?
Yeah, it's 1999, 1995, whatever it is, $20. But yeah, I don't believe the price has changed.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's exactly what it is.
All right, so there you go. If you got nothing else going on over the holidays, you want to find yourself a little amusement. I think it's going to be fun to watch either way. And like Brady said, if you put a few bucks on it one way or the other, it kind of changes. And you guys know this. It kind of changes the way that you not only view the match, but you view the golfers. It kind of changes everything, Brady, which is, I'm with you. I hope that this is a big enough success that the PGA Tour and these guys will look at each other and look at it and go, you know what? We need to be having more of these, especially for over the next couple of months leading into the new season. I think it's going to be, I think this could be the future of golf. At least I hope it is, Brady.
Well, I think these guys understand that they have a vested interest in making this thing successful. Nobody wants to see Tiger beat Phil, by 8 holes and vice versa. We don't want to see a blowout here. We want to see a good competition with a lot of action and a lot of money exchanging hands to make it good for the viewers and, like you say, good for the game of golf. Tiger and Phil are not dumb businessmen.
Yeah.
So I hope it turns out that way, and we should enjoy it.
Yes, we should, and I can't thank you enough for taking some time. I know you're busy. At Las Vegas Golfer is where you will find Brady. If you plan anytime on taking a trip to Vegas and you may want to tee it up a little bit, this is the guy to hit up. He is the one that will be able to set you up on any golf course around the area. Las Vegas Golfer, that is his Twitter. He is Brady Cannon, wagertalk.com. He also appears on VSiN. He contributes there. When it comes to golf and it comes to golf betting, guys, I can tell you right now, nobody, and I mean nobody, is better than Brady Cannon. And Brady, as much as you love golf, all right, is there one particular game over Thanksgiving in the NFL that you are really, really looking at?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Joe, is anybody going to stop the New Orleans Saints? And now they're laying 13 points this week on Thanksgiving, prime time. The Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints is typically a heck of a rivalry, and these games are always played down to the wire. We saw that earlier this year when Drew Brees actually avoided a couple of tackles and ran one in the end zone himself. That one was not decided by 13 points. I think this one might be closer than that as well. But, boy, it is so hard to go against the New Orleans Saints these days with them just routing Cincinnati and then following that up with a whitewash of the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they do it again in division against the Falcons? I'm looking forward to watching that one.
What has got a what? I've been asking this question on social media all day, Brady. I want to get your thought on it here. So we know last night between the Rams and the Chiefs, we had I think it opened up at 65. I think it went off at 63, 63 and a half, the over-under. And I had asked last night, give me an over-under. If these two teams go ahead and meet in the Super Bowl, what is the over-under if there is a rematch here? Do we make it into the 70s? And what do you do if it's New Orleans instead of, let's say, instead of the Rams? Suppose it's New Orleans and Kansas City. Are we looking at roughly the same, or does New Orleans bring an even higher expectation of scoring in a game?
Well, New Orleans' defense is probably a little bit better than either of those teams. But, yeah, I mean, I think any combination of those three teams, and, yes, you're into the 70s. I mean, what we saw last night was 105 points. So I think it's going to be very difficult for a sports book to open this thing up at anything less than, say, 72.5 or so. I mean, again, when you have a Super Bowl, you get a lot of recreational money in a Super Bowl, and the public is going to remember what they saw last. And if it's the Rams and the Chiefs again, they're going to say, hey, we saw them do it to the tune of 105. Why isn't it going to go over 75 or whatever it is?
Right.
So the book is going to have to shade that matchup high, because they know they're going to take a lot of overaction no matter what they set the number at.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how this plays out over the next month and a half. That is for sure. Brady Cannon, WagerTalk.com. Make sure that you guys follow him at Las Vegas Golfer. Ever need a tee time in Las Vegas, this is the guy to go to. Hit him up at Las Vegas Golfer. Brady, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out, man. It'll be fun to see how this unplays this week here with Tiger and Phil, and then hopefully you and I will be able to get together and talk about it and talk about all the new competition and all the new matches moving forward, my friend.
I hear you. Thank you for having me on, and look forward to doing it again sometime, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too, my friend. Thank you very much. Brady Cannon, WagerTalk.com, at Las Vegas Golfer. Make sure that you guys follow him.